Godin Notebook. Basu and 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 Godin Notebook.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Basu and Godin Notebook. And Arpin, it's been a week since we last spoke, and gosh, there's a lot that's been going on since then.
Yeah, this is a week that supports the notion that we need 2 episodes a week. So
Right. Exactly.
yeah. But even if we'd done the Friday episode, we would not have seen the Canadiens sweep the two Florida teams on their post-Christmas back-to-back, traditional post-Christmas back-to-back for the first time since 2009. Doing so when both Florida teams are kind of at the peaks of their powers, though the Panthers have been in a bit of a dreary stretch here for the last little bit, but still defending Stanley Cup champions, 4-0 shutout, full value for that win. Tampa Bay Lightning have been going extremely well, one of the better teams in the conference over the last little bit. Smoked the New York Rangers at home.
Most goals for in the league, so that's not too bad.
So that's not, and totally spanked the New York Rangers the night before. And the Canadiens both times managed leads and played responsible, mature, winning hockey in both instances. So yeah, this team appears to have turned a corner, and so I think that's one of the things we want to get into is just how real is that corner turn? How sustainable is it? But this is probably two of the more impressive wins we've seen from this team under Martin St. Louis, if not the two most impressive wins we've seen under Martin St. Louis. And it's hard not to get the sense that everything has sort of fallen into place. Team's healthy.
Yeah.
Obviously, the arrival of Patrick Laine and Lane Hutson being moved onto the top unit has breathed kind of new life into the power play, even though that was not really a factor over the weekend. Penalty kill continues to perform well. Obviously, the bottom six, which has been the most consistent part of the team, continues to do well. Juraj Slafkovsky has looked a lot better. Kirby Dach is looking better. Alex Newhook is looking better, slowly but surely. And Alex Carrier has settled the defense down in a significant way, which was a real question mark from game to game all season. You didn't know who would be in, who was out. Arbor Jacki was kind of teetering for a while. Obviously, James Strubel's out of the lineup right now, and Justin Barron's gone. But it just feels like everything has clicked all of a sudden. So is it, because now we're talking about 5 wins in 6 games, correct? And so
that's right. And during those 6 games, the Canadiens scored 4 goals or more in each of those 6 games.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
they have not
even
done
the game
that since 1997.
Right, and even the game they lost in Columbus was not a horrendous performance. It wasn't them at their best, obviously, but was not terrible. So the team's playing well. What can we draw from this? Because I kind of posted after the win in Tampa last night that no matter what else happens on this road trip, it's already a success. Pretty much.
Yeah.
They've pretty much banked as many points as I thought they would for the whole trip already, 2 games in. So how sustainable do you think this is?
Well, listen, first of all, I think that nobody thought that they would win 2 games in Florida. So those were the keys to a successful trip. So there were the Florida keys. and I think, how sustainable is it? I think that the fact that you say everything's falling into place, I think that's great. And I don't want to put rain on anybody's parade. I think that the Canadiens are playing very good hockey. Listen, it's the best month point-wise that the Canadiens have played since Martin St. Louis was brought behind the bench. So, and there's still 1 game to play. But It already is. So I think the vibes are good. I think the Canadiens have found the right way to play. You know, when guys keep saying we have to play the right way, they're playing the right way right now. The only thing though that bothers me a little bit is that I feel that up front it's very much driven by the third and fourth line and how excellent they are. And I'm not going to diss that. I think that you need support from your third and fourth line. I think it's important that your veterans show the way.
Hmm.
I think that I just hope that the younger players will take notes and say, okay, this is how we can do it. You say Slavkovsky has looked a lot better. I'm not sure. I see spurts here and there, but I cannot say, wow, that's the guy that we saw second half of the season last year.
I didn't say that. I did not say that. I
You
said he's
said
looked
that he,
better. He's looked better than he did before. He's he's getting
yeah,
closer to that version of Slavkovsky. I did not say that he is back to where he was last year.
no. I said you said he looked a lot better. To
He,
me,
I think he
it's
has.
okay. Okay, I don't think so. I see it in little spurts, but my point is, when you rely on having depth and having four lines rolling is a recipe for success. There's no doubt about that. But if you rely on your supporting cast, those guys are there to support, and you see all the goals that Jake Evans is scoring. That's not sustainable, obviously.
No.
But I mean, Yoel Armia is playing great hockey. Josh Anderson is amazing right now. I just want the success of that team. The next step, I would say, it will be for that team to be carried more by their top two lines than by their bottom two lines. So it's not a criticism, but because I think that there's a lot that younger players like Slavkovsky, like Doc, can learn from that. I think that Newhook is learning to use his speed better a little bit the way that Josh Anderson is, even though they're not the same frame and not the same style of player. But I think that he's more effective in the way that he uses his speed. So that's something that makes him a better player. But I think that
Hmm.
in the long run, the key in the sustainability of the success of that team will be that it slightly transferred from the bottom six to the top six in terms of, who carries the most weight in those wins.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I did look at, um, I wrote a piece after the Florida game looking at their 20 game stretch that kind of began uh, after that loss in Toronto. So that began with the win in Buffalo on Hall of Fame induction day.
Yeah,
And, now it's been 21 games since then. Caulfield and Suzuki are the two leading scorers on the team over that span, 22 points each. Lane
Caulfield's
Hudson's
playing
got
great.
Caulfield's playing great. I think Suzuki's playing really well. I think that line is good. Like they're facing top opposition night after night, and they're still producing. A lot of those, I guess, 6 points in Caulfield's case, 7 points in Suzuki's case, came on the power play in that stretch. So that's still 16 and 15 points in 21 games at 5-on-5, which is good. The one caveat, I guess, is over that same stretch. If you look at the Canadiens' sort of underlying numbers, they're not terrible like they were over the first 15, 20 games, but they're not fantastic. They're still they're still in the red in some of the key indicators, but only slightly. Like shot attempts, they're at 49.4%. Shots on goal, 48.2. All of this is at 5-on-5. Goals for, they're one goal above 500. So they're at 50.5%, 47 goals for, 46 against at 5-on-5. Expected goals slightly below 50% at 48.6. So that's an improvement, but
Yeah,
it's still not an indicator of sustained success, and definitely wouldn't suggest a 595 points percentage over those 21 games, which is what they have. So it's, we can't put too much into those numbers. There's a lot of context that goes into them. You look at the Florida game, there were long stretches of that game where the Canadiens were hemmed in their own end, but Florida was working the puck around the outside. They didn't really get that many excellent scoring opportunities off of that possession. And, there was a period where Martin St. Louis was talking about, sort of evolving the Canadiens' offensive game from possession mode to attack mode. And I think defensively in that Florida game, they kept Florida in possession mode. They didn't really let them get into full attack mode in those 5-on-5 shifts. And so, we see that from time to time, and depending on the score in the game, they might be more willing to do that. But, the underlying numbers don't suggest this will necessarily continue. But they also don't suggest that they're playing in a way that looked sustainably awful at the beginning of the season. And
Yeah.
like,
No, they're playing better. There's no doubt about that.
yeah,
They're
but
probably those numbers look signal a team that's almost like a middle of the pack team. Like
mhm.
probably what a team that was looking to get away from the basement, get closer to a playoff spot. Basically, that's what it starts to look like.